Hello, everyone. If you have not done so already, please mute. Good afternoon, Tiandra. All right, so it is 12:30. Looks like we are ready to get started. Dr. Kira Taylor, would you like for me to go ahead and introduce?
Sure, thank you.
Perfect. So, hello, everyone. I would like to introduce our presenter, Dr. Kira Taylor. Dr. Kira Taylor is an associate professor in the Department of Epidemiology and Population Health and has been at U of L since 2011. She has a PhD in epidemiology from Emory University, MS in biology from Stanford University, and a master's in education from Wake Forest University. She is the director of the MS in epidemiology program and conducts research in environmental, genetic, and reproductive epidemiology. Now, before we begin, I would like to ask if you could please direct any questions that arise during the presentation to the chat box. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Ariel.
You're welcome.
Ariel is our wonderful department coordinator. As she said, I'm a associate professor in the School of Public Health here. I've been here since 2011, and I love this school, and I love epidemiology. So a couple years ago, we started to put the MS program online. We've had an MS program here since 2006 in epidemiology, but we decided to move it fully online to accommodate more people that wanted to get training in epidemiology and epidemiologic research. So I'm going to give a little presentation, and like Ariel mentioned, please put any questions you have in the chat, or you can stop me if I don't see the chat for some reason. I'm going to share my screen. Back to the beginning. Okay, so I hope you're here because you like epidemiology, or maybe you just want to know more about it and how you can become an epidemiologist and help shape the future of public health. So why epidemiology? Why would you choose this career? It is the fundamental science of public health. I'm a scientist by training. I have a degree in biology. That was my initial love, and genetics. But as I learned more and more about epidemiology, I realized it was perfect because it really combines, wanting to help human populations with science and scientific thinking, scientific design, and the scientific method. So it's quantitative, it's logical, it's evidence-based. And really, it answers these questions. Who gets disease? Why do some people get disease and others people don't? How do they get it? Why are some people and some populations more vulnerable to some diseases than others? What are the risk factors for disease? And what can we do to prevent disease? And how can we best design studies to really address these questions? So some questions that always come up is, what's the difference between an MS and an MPH? An MS is really a scientific research degree, and an MPH is more of a practitioner's degree. So if you're interested in maybe working for a public health department, if you got an MPH, you might be out in the community more, doing public health interventions. If you got an MS, you would probably be more interested in the data analysis section or designing a study. So an MS is more for research, and MPH is really a practitioner. Epidemiology is a great career. It's one of the fastest growing professions, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, with a projected increase of over 19% in the next decade. The median salary is about $80,000 for epidemiologists with a master's degree. You can get a job in a health department, a federal health agency, on a private or academic medical center, an insurance company, pharmaceutical industries. Of our graduates, About 30% went into industry or pharmaceuticals or consulting. 40% went on to get their PhD in epidemiology, eventually pursuing um, academic careers in research, and 30% use this as a kind of a jumping off point to help them get into medical school. We have a small program that we are very proud of. So I like to say that U of L gives you a personal experience and a quality experience. With a small program, you will, of course, have more individual attention. Another benefit of coming to U of L is that all faculty who teach in our program have a PhD in epidemiology. So we know what we're doing. And if you look at our faculty resumes and CVs on our website, you'll see that everyone has got excellent training in epidemiology and has, combined decades and decades of experience conducting studies and publishing manuscripts. But we are also very dedicated to teaching. We love our students. We want them to succeed. And we get help from the Delphi Center for Teaching and Learning at U of L, which provides dedicated support for online learning at U of L.
Et c'est ça le racisme, c'est ça qu'il y a derrière. C'est quand on ne voit pas dans les autres des êtres humains à parité.
My French is a little rusty. Let me see if I can open the chat. Hold on. Ariel, can you read the chat to me, please? If there's any questions that come up.
Yes, looks like at the moment we do not have any questions.
Okay. So if you could put your questions in the chat, that would help us. And then Ariel can read them to me as I'm presenting. Okay, so we pride ourselves in giving excellent, rigorous training in epidemiologic methods, study design, data analysis, and interpretation, and also computer programming. We use two languages. We use SAS and we use R. So you get experience learning the strengths and limitations of both of those software packages. And of course, the program is fully asynchronous. There are no required synchronous meetings for any of the courses. This is a list of courses which you can find online, but as you can see, we go through methods. We also cover a couple of content classes like environmental epidemiology, clinical epidemiology. We give you some important background with the biology of disease class, because if you are studying diseases, it would be nice to know the pathophysiology of those diseases so you can better understand the factors that might increase or decrease risk of disease in certain populations. We also give you a nice theoretical foundations of epidemiology course, which is unique to U of L. And it goes over the history and sort of the emerging theories of epidemiologic thinking. And another unique aspect of our program is the study coordination skills class, which is taught by two professors who both have a lot of experience designing, conducting, directing studies, epidemiologic studies. So they'll give you some practical hands-on information and tips in that class. So those two are classes you won't find in any other MS program. You can pretty much go as fast or as slow as you want. So this is the 10 semester plan where you just take one course per semester. You start off with the two, what we call core courses, which are statistics and epimethods. So no matter what plan you take or how fast or slow you go, you need to start with those two courses. You could take two classes per semester and graduate in 5 semesters. The fastest you could graduate would be 4 semesters if you took a couple more classes in those 4 semesters. So that would be fall, spring, summer, and then fall again. To apply to the MS program, you're going to apply through the U of L Graduate School. You have to have all of your official transcripts, your CV, a 1-page personal statement that we do read very carefully, describing your background and your interest in epidemiology, what makes epidemiology appealing to you, and also why a research degree, why an MS in epidemiology. 2 letters of recommendation, and it's a good idea to make those academic letters or people that can speak to your skills, either your quantitative abilities, your research skills, that's what we're looking for. Undergraduate GPA of at least 3, official transcripts, college algebra, or any higher level math with a B or higher as shown on an official transcript. So we want to make sure that you can succeed in the program. We want to make sure you have those quantitative skills coming in. The program is open to international students because it is 100% online. And you can take the TOEFL, Duolingo, etc. if English is not the primary language. You will not be issued a visa because there's no attendance requirement on campus. Everything can be accessed online. The tuition rate is $830 per credit hour. We also have a military-friendly tuition rate. We also have a financial aid office. If you take at least 4.5 hours in a semester, you're eligible to apply for financial aid. I'm just going to stop right now. Any questions right now?
Yes, we do have a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
Looks like we have a question from Tiandra. Her question is, how would you describe the work-life balance and an epidemiologist?
It depends on what career path you choose. So I think because a lot of your work will be done on your own, either as a consultant or working for a company or working for a school, working for the government. It really depends on where you are employed and what their work requirements are. Some employers are very flexible and allow you to do a lot of work from home or on your own time. Others tend to be a little bit more strict. Yeah, so it depends is my answer. So, but you can hunt out and search for a job that fits your needs, I would imagine.
We have another question from Leida. Her question is, what if you have an NPH already but are interested in wanting to go back to become an epidemiologist? And would you recommend this route? Any potential credits that can transfer over?
Yeah, we would have to look at the transcript to see if anything would be directly applicable to our MS program. So yeah, we would look at your transcript carefully. But yes, we do have people who have gone from the MPH program to an MS program, and then went on to a PhD. This degree, this MS degree does, if you take the MS at U of L and then you apply to the PhD at U of L, you will have a year shaved off of your PhD. So a lot of these classes will apply to a PhD. But we would have to look at your transcript and evaluate whether anything could transfer. The area of focus and the skills that you gain in an MPH degree tend to be quite different from an MS degree. So I wouldn't imagine that too many classes would cross over. But again, we could take a look at it.
Looks like we have one more question. This question is from Shafak. Could you
Okay.
talk about the U of L epidemiology combined with undergraduate program with public health?
Sure. You mean the 4+1 degree? Is that what you're
I believe
referring
so.
to? Okay.
Yes.
Right. So we have a 4+1 degree at U of L where if you're pursuing your undergraduate degree at U of L, you can also apply to the MPH program, I think during your junior year. And if you're accepted to that, you take some of the MPH courses during your final year as an undergraduate and finish the MPH program during the subsequent year, like a 5th year. So you would get a bachelor's degree and an MPH in 5 years. But that does not apply to this particular MS program that I'm discussing today. Any more questions right now?
Question. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yes, my name is Alan. I'm so interested about this program is, but I get my bachelor from back from my country, And when I come here, I just go to BCTC and then I
Mhm.
get the associate degree here too. But I
Mhm.
would like to do this program is what I can do for now or to apply for this program if I'm eligible
Do you
or
have an
not.
undergraduate degree?
Yes, I have bachelor
Okay.
from my country.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Right. Yeah.
yes,
So
but I'm here, see that maybe more than 5 years in Lexington here. But um, I just I'm just finish BCTC like undergraduate thing, like a associate degree on science.
mhm.
So I'm testing for this. So that's why I'm trying to ask if I'm eligible for this program is I can do what I can do for the next support.
So you would need to check all these admission requirements.
Mhm.
And if you fulfill all the admission requirements, then you would be a good candidate to apply. And then we would read your application and make a decision and get back to you in a couple of weeks. So the application deadline is July 1st,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to get back to people within a couple of weeks if we can.
Oh, well, the application is not yet online, but it's gonna start next month. That mean.
The application is available. You can go ahead and apply now, and the
Mm-hmm.
deadline is July 1st.
Okay. So what I can do for the degree that I get from my country?
Your transcripts, you mean?
Yes,
Yes, you would have to provide those transcripts. So you'd have to send them an email and ask them to send them over.
sent to you all the transcript or just
Yes,
you I
through the
have to do
graduate school.
yes.
Hmm.
So I need to send to the any agency here or something like or just I send to you.
No, send it to the graduate school when you apply. So you'll have several things that are required as part of your application.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yes. So if you have any questions about the application, you can email grad80m@louisville.edu. You can also have them mailed, apparently, the old-fashioned style to U of L Graduate School.
Dr. Taylor, looks like we do have a few more questions. Would we like to hold off until the end for Q&A?
Okay. Yeah, so I just have it like 2 or 3 more slides and then I'll
Okay,
answer everyone else's questions.
perfect. All right.
Okay. So frequently asked questions. How is the material taught? We teach using Blackboard, which is our course delivery system. You would log into Blackboard, you would see your classes, you'd see what assignments you have that week and what you need to complete and when the due dates are. And then each course has a combination of different types of assignments like readings, online modules that you kind of click through and answer questions, video lectures, and more traditional homework assignments. There's also assignments that you can complete directly on the computer. Group work is a component of some courses, but not all courses. The courses in the fall and spring are 15 weeks. Summer courses are 10 weeks long. And as I mentioned before, yes, you can go part-time. You can even take a 1 or 2 semester break if you need to in the middle of your degree. Application deadline is July 1st. We don't have a thesis requirement for this degree, so we do cover elements of research within the classes themselves. If you would like to add an independent study to your degree program, you would graduate with more hours than you would be required to, but that is also an option if you ask a faculty member and they're willing to do an independent study with you. That is an option as well. The strengths of our program is fully synchronous with an emphasis on methods and study design, statistics and programming. All of our courses are taught by full-time professors with a doctoral degree in epidemiology. We do not have any part-time instructors in this degree. And these are just the research areas of our faculty. We study chronic disease, environmental epidemiology, infectious disease, genetic epi, social and behavioral epi, and maternal child health. And here's the link to look more about, if you want to learn more about financial aid, you can click this link here. So, all right, so that's all I have. So yes, back to the questions. Thanks.
So it looks like we have a question from Jonathan. The question is, have any graduates gone on to work with the CDC or EIS?
So we had some doctoral students do that. We've had at least one, possibly more than one doctoral student do the EIS program. They do, unless you have an MD, you're going to need a PhD. So to do the EIS program, you need to have a terminal degree, such as an MD, veterinary doctor, or a PhD. So we've had some PhD people do that, and I can't think of anyone who's gone on to work at the CDC off the top of my head. But people, you know, we've got one graduate working in like a food science company, another one that's gone on to work in pharmaceuticals. Another one was a consultant with a local research agency that basically helps people conduct research. And like I said, some people go on to medical school or go on to get their PhD.
Looks like we have another one from Tiandra. After your bachelor's degree, was an internship necessary for you to get your current job?
Me personally, no. And it's not required for the MS degree. So the MPH program does include a practicum and an integrative learning experience, which is kind of like a small thesis. So if you're interested in internship opportunities, you could look into the MPH program, but that one is not online. You would have to be in Louisville for that.
And we have another one from Tiandra. She asked, in your opinion, how do changes in federal leadership impact the job market for public health professionals?
Good question. So it seems like it's changing all the time, first of all. And a lot of the changes that we're seeing right now, a lot of the, threats to funding and threats to the CDC and the National Institutes of Health, we don't know a lot about how that's going to eventually land. And we don't know how long this disturbance will last. But the nice thing about a degree such as epidemiology, or really any degree that really gives you skills that are transferable to different kinds of jobs, is that no one can ever take away your education, right? People can take away your money, your house, but you'll always have your education. No one can ever go into your brain and pull it out. So you'll always have that degree and that, I guess, comfort in knowing that you have learned important skills. They will be applicable somewhere. They will be useful to someone. It may not be the NIH or the CDC right now, but that instability may eventually settle down. Particularly, who knows, there might be a new administration in 4 years. So we're just trying to, stay optimistic.
Looks like there was a
Thank
follow-up
you.
question. Looks like
You're
there was a
welcome.
follow-up question from Jean. The question was, how will that affect University of Louisville?
So the University of Louisville, we do have, federal funding. It keeps to change every day. So I personally haven't felt any, negative effects of what's been happening. The MS program is still thriving. Our PhD program is still thriving. So it's more specific to grants that were awarded to the university. But that changes day to day. Some days we hear that a grant is going to be, this funding is going to stop. The next day it's saying, no, the funding is actually still there. It's not going to stop. So we're definitely in a stage of turmoil right now in terms of just, like I said, instability and unpredictability. But, we're staying the course. We have a very dedicated faculty, very dedicated to our students. So hopefully we'll be here for a while.
We have another one from Miss Tiandra. Are there any professors that specialize in pharmaceutical research that you know of for public health?
So we do have one professor in the department who researches treatments for eating disorders. That's the closest we have. And he works with the Eating Disorder Research Lab here at U of L, which is very big and very well funded. We have another professor who does research in infectious disease, long COVID, not necessarily researching pharmaceuticals, but more looking at the characteristics of people with long COVID. Of course, looking at medications is always part of the analysis that people do, like what medications did they take, but not no one in our department currently is doing anything like a clinical trial.
We have an admissions question for Mohammed. Is there any waiver for English TOEFL? So TOEFL.
There's other options.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back to this. Okay, so TOEFL or the IELTS or the Duolingo or demonstration of a degree awarded from an institution where the language of instruction was English. So those are the different options.
Perfect. Our last question is from Tiandra regarding obtaining the two professors' contact information regarding pharmaceutical study, if she's able to get that information,
Sure, I will.
which I can direct that to her if you'd like.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So does anyone else have any additional
Thank you.
questions?
Yes,
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, do I need a TOEFL too?
I don't know. So it depends on if your degree was awarded from an institution where the instruction was in English.
Yes.
It was? What country was it from?
No. I'm from Congo, and yes, I'm from Congo. There we use uh well well our language is French. So why here in Kentucky here I have a associated degree in at the BCDC. World Class Community College here. So I don't know if I do need TOEFL too. That's my question.
Oh, I see. So you have a degree from the United States as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that means you have a degree awarded from an English-speaking institution, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that should be sufficient. I think you have satisfied this last bullet point, sounds like.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Like we do not have any more questions left.
Alrighty. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to say thank you to everybody for attending today. Please follow up. You can email myself or Ariel Young if you have any questions that popped up into your mind after this session. All right, it was nice to see all of you, hear from you. Thanks for attending.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye-bye.